Now that you bought your used car, what you want to do next is some general maintenance items in order to ensure that your vehicle is nice and kept up, in order to ensure you'll have thousands of miles of trouble-free, reliable service. And the first thing we're going to do is change the engine oil. What you want to do before that is take your car for a drive and get it up to full operating temperature. That way, when we go to drain the oil is very thin, so it will run out of the oil pan a lot better, and it'll just make it quicker and easier. Once you got your vehicle up to operating temperature, next thing you want to do is jack it up. And one important thing to note is to jack it up on a sturdy part, preferably on the chassis. As you can see right here, I have it on the subframe right in front of the lower control arm mount. So now that it's safe, we're gonna jack it up. Now pop the hood on your car. And what we're gonna do now, once we get it propped up, is take the oil fill cap off. That way the oil will flow nice and smoothly out of the oil pan. Okay, next thing you want to do is start loosening the oil drain plug, and make sure you have your oil catch container ready, and then you can start threading it off. Once you get it cracked loose, you can pretty much loosen it by hand. And there it goes. Now we're going to let that drain for a little bit, and we'll come back once it's stop dripping, and then move on to the oil filter. Now that the oil has just started into a slow drip, you can go ahead and put the oil drain plug back in. Once you get it threaded in all the way, go ahead and tighten it up with a ratchet, but not too tight, because this is an aluminum oil pan and you don't want to strip those threads. Now that we've drained all the oil out of the crankcase, what we can do next is remove the oil filter and replace it. What I like to do, I just do these by hand. They do make oil filter wrenches to do them. I've never really needed one. But if yours is on there too tight, that usually happens at a lot of quick lube shops, then you might need a wrench or a socket. And now that we got it loosened, you just want to let it drain all the oil out of the oil pump, and then we'll remove the filter. Now that it's done draining from the oil pump, we can go ahead and remove the oil filter the rest of the way. And more will come out. And one thing you always want to make sure is make sure the gasket does not stick on the oil filter housing and it comes off with the oil filter. If that oil filter gasket sticks on the housing and then you go to put another oil filter on there with a new gasket, it will leak every time. So make sure that the old gasket comes off with the old filter. Next thing you want to do, if this is a new car to you, you could either do one of two things. You could do a quick Google search, or you could just look in the owner's manual if your car came with it and look up what type of engine oil you need and what filter you need. I like to keep OEM filters with the vehicles. For instance, if it's a Ford car, I like to use a Motorcraft filter. If it's a Dodge, use a Mopar. If it's a Chevy, use an AC Delco, etc. But anyways, in the table of contents, it'll say you want maintenance product specifications and capacities, page 208. Then we'll go down here and go to engine oil. And right there it'll say engine oil for the 2 liter is 4.5 quarts. Next thing you're going to want to do is fill your new oil filter up with engine oil. This will help it from being a dry start. Try not to get it all over the place like that. And when you do this and you get the oil to the top, take your finger around the gasket and that'll ensure good seal. Now you can go under the car and put your new oil filter filled with oil. Once we put roughly the amount of oil that the engine takes, You can go ahead and remove the funnel and put the oil fill cap back on. Now we can lower the car down and start the engine. Now we can go ahead and start the engine. No check gauge lights. No weird noises. So now we'll go under and see if there's any leaks. No leaks from the drain plug or the oil filter, so we should be good. Now all you need to do, let it warm up a little bit, and then just check your oil level and add oil if necessary. But that's it for this video. If it's helped you, please consider subscribing. Otherwise, like and comment, and I'll see you in the next video.